The sound system here has 6,341 speakers, right? There's 2,013 seats, and every seat has a speaker in front of you, a speaker next to your left ear and your right ear, and hundreds of speakers in the air. And it's not just to make it louder. It's in order to place the sound and to make it intimate and to just create that dimension. The sound designer for the show, Jonathan Deans, looked at what surround sound was in 5.1, which is how the Martins worked on this music for years before the theater opened. And the sound system that we have in this theater, he refers to that as 25.5 surround sound. And not just that it's 5 times bigger or 5 times more expensive, and it's way more than 5 times more expensive, but that there really are an infinite number of possibilities. You can be in your seat and you can hear a voice sound like it's right there.
Right.
Or like it's over there, or have elements and soundscapes that give you depth and width, and that's very different than listening to it on the best home theater system.
Turn off your mind, relax and flow downstream. I'd ask my friends to come and see. See, in an octopus's garden with you. In an octopus's garden with you.
For While My Guitar Gently Weeps, for the first several months of the show, in the rehearsals and even when the theater is open, what they were setting the visuals to and what the dancers were practicing to was an acoustic demo that George Harrison did of just him and his guitar. And you can hear that version alone on the anthology.
On the anthology.
As one of the very first takes that he did before it turned into this produced version that everyone knows from the radio. Now, Olivia felt that that wasn't strong enough. That wasn't what George would have wanted to carry that song through the show. So at her request, Sir George Martin went back to London and wrote and arranged and recorded a string score, a beautiful string score to accompany that song, to accompany George Harrison. And we were the first ones, you know, before the show opened, before the album came out, to hear that and recognizing not just that it is a beautiful piece of music and that, you know, it's such a beautiful song, but that it's a tribute that Sir George Martin contributed to George Harrison's memory. So I'm just going to play it from the very beginning. So right now, all we hear at this moment is just the voice and guitar.
Demo version, right?
This is the first, one of the first takes that George Harrison ever recorded, live, acoustic, just him. And then, slowly we start hearing the strings that Sir George Martin scored and recorded in Abbey Road Studios. Olivia Harrison was there. You know, it was the same space that this original take was recorded. It's just such a touching, emotional moment. And you and I right now can hear it in surround sound.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great. This is like a kid in a candy store.
I look at you all, see the lover that's sleeping, while my guitar gently weeps.
That's what's so great about the show, because it's a reinterpretation of their music, even though you've heard it,
right.
You know, however many times.
And we're not trespassing on anything.
Not
Again, this Sir George Martin, the original producer, was behind this.
You say you want a revolution, well, you know, we all want to change the world.
This is, I don't see how there can be any more Beatles music after this. Sir George Martin has said several times that this is his last contribution to the legacy of the Beatles.
Well, they're remastering. EMI is going to remaster the catalog.
Yeah.
So that, you know, I guess maybe they've already done it and we're not privy to that information.
One thing I can tell you is you got to be free. Come together right now over me.
So tell us what you're going to do here, Gav.
Well, just to sort of show what it looks like to run the music playback system from back here. As I mentioned, the paramedic aspect. You know, the paramedic, when everything goes right, doesn't look like they're doing a whole lot. Now from here, when the show is running, like right now I'm playing the very last song, which is All You Need Is Love. During the show, I'm looking at what's happening on screen. I have a camera here in the theater that I can sweep around and check out things that may be happening. And there are times that I cue off the artist, that I wait for an artist to do a certain thing and then I take my cue off that. Or I hear the stage manager tell me, okay, everything's in place, now I can go to this part. Right. I'm also looking at all these computers. With 100% of the band being on this side of the screen, right. You know, it's completely vital that everything works perfectly. And you know, with any moving part, one day something might fail. So we have two of everything. This computer and this computer are sample locked. They're doing exactly the same thing. And if they're ever, the day that a RAM chip fails or hard disk skips on one system, I can flick to the other one and the transition is seamless. We have two complete sets of hardware because it's so vital. It's the Beatles music. We're also running, you can see these numbers here, that's SMPTE time code. Right. And that's being used to lock up the projections, the video material, some of the lighting cues, so that they can be exactly in sync with the music and create a whole look. Right. And so monitoring that and make sure that the hardware's working, and I'm looking at the CPU of the computers and sort of soaking it all in and just being very aware of everything. I can also listen to the audience, and I often do listen to the audience. We have microphones in the theater that I can turn up and hear the applause and wait for them to be done before I advance. So it is interactive. It's not just push play on a CD and go take a nap. Right. It definitely, we want the audience to express themselves, and then just like a band would do, they feed off the audience, and we do the same thing with the Beatles music.
That's fantastic. Now here's my final question. How many spins of the turbine at Lake Powell with the Hoover Dam are required to generate the show each night? I mean, the
power-wise?
Power-wise.
Probably not that much more than a lot of other shows. I mean, we have some fantastic lighting instruments, and that's, and lighting always takes up a lot more resources than sound. If that turbine ever stops spinning, we have enough backup here to keep the show running on battery for, the rest of the show. UPSs, everything else.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, this has been quite an education, and I'm not a shill for the show by any means. I mean, but it's fantastic. It really is. Right. And I'm sure the show will run for a long time, and
we all hope so, and we all expect so.
And if you come out to Vegas, or maybe you should just come to Vegas just to experience the show, even if you're not a gambler. It's well worth the trip. I really truly believe that.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show, Gavin.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for coming.
And we'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Dusty Wright with the Culture Catch. Thanks.